Race 9 sees us in mid-Ohio for the next round of the ERL INDYCAR series. As you can see, the top three come across the line to start their lap around the pace car. You can see only one of them on the hard tires, and that's Saf Sound down in 18th. But to run through your starting grid for today's race, it's an Andretti 1-2 with INDYCAR besting teammate Quan Todoroki. Then it's Ewa Puff, Lewis Olsen, Tommy, and Linus Eriksson in sixth. Sorry. Then it's Lil Buns, the Ukrainian, right behind Francis Austin and Milsos Micah. And then Hexel Mark in 10th. Championship leader Carson Thornburg splits the field. Behind him is O'Quee, not very happy with his qualifying performance. Then Niven Colby, David Kamino, Elliot Deli, Mikyon Gurovich, Salos Kine, Saf San, the only man to start this race on the hards. Then it's Enoch Ghosted, the man that we're looking at now, Sebastian Mestian, and Davi Circurera. And for the Haas driver, down in 19th currently, down in 22nd to start this race rather. He drives car number 19, that's why I got confused. He's got a mountain to climb if he's to recapture the magic he saw at the Indy Road Course, which was his first race in the ERL and his first race win, hopping in to replace TJ Davis, who's gone missing in action. But you can see Max Bortkar of the Netherlands, ahead of his own teammate. Quan starting this race on the softs. There's probably going to be a little bit of team orders down at Andretti to make sure that there's no collision. And what can you puff? The Scotsman driving for Dragon Penske, who has arguably been one of the better drivers all season. He's just had no luck at all. Can he go for his first ERL race win today here in mid-Ohio? As you can see, the man in the dark blue helmet right behind the man in the pale blue helmet driving car number 33. That's Quan Todoroki, as the pace car will pull into the pits at the end of this lap. They round the final chicane. It's going to be the two Andrettis having to defend and fight against the rest of the grid as Max Bortkar rounds the final turn. Boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys! Across the line they come. Quan not able to make too much of a move on Bortkar in front. Ewa Puff right behind. Everyone stringing it out, single file for most of the pack. Some of them got left behind on the race start. You can see Saf San quite a ways behind Salas Kynes already, and Davi Circurera 9 seconds off the lead. Todoroki with the fastest first sector of anyone at 23.033. Max Bortkar is still holding on to the race lead. Cam no further back. Track limits warning. He's looking to make his way through the field. He's right behind the hyperdrive of O'Quee in the 99. He's not quite close enough to make the move yet. Tommy with the fastest second sector. I believe that's quite a ways further ahead of Linus Eriksson, in fact. And O'Quee with a second track limits warning further back. I believe he's dropped behind Saf San, who on the hard tyres looks to hold on to that 18th position currently. Out in front, however, as they start the third lap, Max Bortkar still leads from Quan Todoroki and Ewa Puff, who set a fastest lap, 105.483. Push to pass has been enabled. As you can see, an entire influx of fastest laps coming in. Davi Circurera setting a 104.433. He's outside of the points being positions, and so currently would not get the fastest lap point that we award in the IndyCar series. Side by side between Carson Thornburg and Hexel Mark. And Hexel getting past the championship leader, whose teammate, it seems to be fighting a tall battle indeed to get himself into the points. We're on board with Elliot Deli in the 16th position, driving car number 38. Lewis Olsen further up, tried to make a move on Ewa Puff and just couldn't. You can see the entire field with push to pass behind Max Bortkar, but the 29 still leads ahead of his own teammate. And if I'm one of the Andretti strategy guys, I'm actually probably going to keep it like this, because Quan's going to be able to defend from Ewa. As in fact, Todoroki sets fastest sector, tries to make the pass on Max Bortkar, but both drivers sent offline. And now Kwon looking for the inside line coming into turn number 4. Is this a little bit of a driver mutiny here? I wouldn't count on it, as we're still watching the race leaders head through the second sector. Bortcar still leading ahead of Kwon and You Are Puff. Tommy still fighting with Linus Eriksson. On board we go with the McLaren driver. Delhi with a track limits warning. And the more successful Revolution driver finds his way up into 4th ahead of Lewis Olsen, making his way through the field like butter, and you can see a little bit of graining on the front of that Revolution car. The front left tyre not really holding up. This race could be a 2-stopper. As we go on board with Linus trying to go around the outside on Lewis Olsen. They're side by side, and they maintain that, heading down onto the main straight. 5 of 14, and you can see in the background the McLaren man pulls to the inside as the rest of the field goes side by side. Your Puff goes side by side with Kwon Todoroki, who sends it down the inside and takes the lead in Mid-Ohio. And the Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio now led by the Japanese samurai himself, Kwon Todoroki. Bortcar drops down to 3rd. He might have technically better mediums right now. It's Austin. Oh, that's a spin. Milsos Micah and Francis Austin both off the track. Austin with front wing damage. He'll have to come in to repair that in due course. And for Milsos Micah, what's happened to him is he's dropped behind his teammate. He's outside of the point. But apart from that, minor damage has been picked up to that car. Austin has a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. And all I can say to that is rightfully so. Because you cannot make a move like that and expect nothing to go wrong. You Are Puff is closing in. He's going to get pushed to pass here. You can see rear wing wide open as they start lap number 6 of 14. Here he comes, pulls to the inside. I feel like Ewer's going to take the lead. Side by side they go, and he's not quite able to do it yet. The Japanese driver just defends too well, but he has been given a track limits warning. But he will not be mandated to return the position. Austin's found his way into pit lane. Quee getting a track limits warning. That's quite a ways behind these guys. In fact, that's 11th position. Take a look at the state of those softs. And also, the darkening clouds above is part of the United States. And to be completely honest with you, if it rains here in Ohio, that would be certainly something in terms of the strategy. Andretti themselves would probably be a little bit worried at the very least. As Niven Colby gets a track limits warning, his first of the day. You get 4 of those and it's time penalty. I don't know if they should pit yet. I say now round the final few turns. I don't think it's the smartest decision to come in yet. Kwon, however, does pull into pit row. Many other drivers coming in with him. Those are dry compounds going on for, I believe, can't actually make out the team. As in comes Kwon, medium tyres going on. That will see him to the end of this race semi-comfortably if Bortcar's pace is anything to go by. Hard tyres going on for the McLaren of Linus Eriksson, as well as the hyperdrive of Lewis Olsen. A lot of teams draped in yellow. And where's Austin? Austin's only now rounding the final turn, so he's not gained at all through this pit phase. And we've got full course yellow. Out of the race has gone Max Bortcar. No, Max Bortcar out of this race. And he's done that on his own. He's just hit the wall on his very own. Full course caution has been pulled out. I sincerely don't know how that one could have happened, because we go on board with the race leader in You Are Puff. Yeah, he's got tons of tyre wear, but nothing too major in terms of damage. In fact, he has no damage to his car as he now peels into pit row. Race leader You Are Puff has just come into the pits. What tyres are going on for him? Those are slicks still going on. Hexel Mark leads the Mid-Ohio Grand Prix in the ERL INDYCAR series. Quee, Salas Kynes, they're all coming into the pits. And these are all for slick tyres. No one coming in for the wet stuff. No one's coming in for the blue-walled wets or the green-walled intermediates. It's all either red, yellow or white for these guys as Camino comes in for mediums. This race shaping up to be a one-stopper as we're on board with an ARQ. In fact, You Are Puff, through the pit phase, he's gained on Kwon Todoroki. He's currently ahead, but only by 4/10. Here comes the Japanese man. They go side by side, entering the second sector, and they just about leave each other enough room to get through it smoothly. However, Kwon has now lost a lot of time. He's gained it back, however, heading through the rest of the second. I feel like that Andretti works really well in a straight line. Here comes You Are Puff in the Dragon Penske car on an ARQ. We missed that move. A lot of waving from the Hong Kong driver in the 25. Here comes You Are Puff. However, down the inside he goes. The move has been made. And is that Power Motorsports driver losing power? Well, he's losing a lot of grip. He's at 5% tire wear. He's going to have to make the stop as he now rounds the final turn. And he does come in. Hexel Mark comes into the pit, sets on a second set of inters. And for the first time in the ERL's history, an Indian driver leads. That's Saf San on the hard tires, leading here in Mid-Ohio. But of course, he's yet to make a stop, and these tires really shouldn't be used to go to the end of a race. So it is currently You Are Puff with a net race lead, and he's trying to make it the real race lead, sends it down the inside. And this time, unlike Kwon before him, he went side by side and he keeps the lead. You Are Puff takes the lead in Mid-Ohio as Lil Buns, track limits warning. That's a second of the day. He's down in 9th. And he's fighting with Hexel Mark. He lost time in a similar fashion to Kwon Todoroki earlier on, is my best guess. Push to pass available for the Japanese driver. Not quite able to make the move yet. And he's still with Saf. Looks to the outside through the chicane. Is he going to try and make the switchback work? We saw the 38 regenning as we're heading down to lap 10, the 32 rather. He was regenerating and he's dropped to 4th. Tommy got past him like an absolute missile on the straight. Is that Revolution Racing car going to be able to get any positions? As Carson Thornburg, just pointing this out as Silas Khan sets a new fastest lap. Thornburg's in the points. Through the strategy, through his moves, he's up into the points paying positions. And honestly, it's just been amazing. Kwon has dropped to 3rd behind Tommy. Is the number 45 Revolution Racing of Tommy gonna take the win in Mid-Ohio? It'd be his first win in a long time in the ERL. Revolution Racing's first win since, I believe, Season 12. If they didn't win in Season 12 of the ERL Formula E Series, then you'd have to go back to, of all things, Season 5. I don't know what race in Season 5, but certainly would be a race in Season 5. As we're now to lap 11, and You Are Puff still at the front of the pack. Saf San finally comes in. That is Lil Buns going side by side as Hexel Mark moving through the field. Revolution, the sleeper agents of this race. And that means that everyone's pitted at least once in this race. No real multi-stoppers or non-stoppers, thankfully. The non-stop shouldn't really be a plausible strategy, especially with the hard tires performing as they are. You need a massive gap for that to work. We're on board with Tommy, who's trying to build a massive gap to Todoroki behind and close one to You Are Puff in front. And you know what? He's doing a pretty good job of it. Expect Tommy to try and make the move on the main straight to start lap number 12 and to bring car number 45 back to the front of the pack. But look at the state of those mediums. He's going to be losing grip. He will be able to make it to the end of the race, but it's not going to be easy for him. He's closing in. Push to pass. Wide open. Lap 12 of 14. Will the race lead swap hands? He looks to the inside. Almost makes the dive and just can't make it work just yet. He tries again into turn 3. And for another time in this race, Tommy's advance has failed. He's still only alongside You Are Puff as Francis Austin comes in for his second stop. And those dark clouds, they've been with us since at least lap 4, to say the very least. And when will the rain fall? Rain was forecast for this race. Austin came out on the softs as Davide Carrera, who is in 9th position. He's been given a track limits warning. Here comes Tommy. Doesn't need to make the move yet. He's going to get pushed to pass here. Might try to make it into this next hard braking point. Maybe even the chicane if he feels lucky enough. But he's not quite able to close in enough to Puff, looking back with the number 9. Racing for Dragon Penske. Rounding the final turn, you can see Tommy with push to pass wide open. He's closing in. We're on to the penultimate lap here in Mid-Ohio. Tommy still looking for the move. Tries to go down the inside. Can't do it yet. Almost hit the wall. If he had any less grip, he wouldn't have been able to do it. But he has escaped from the clutches of turn number 1. But he's lost time to Puff. He's not going to be able to make the move through sector 2, I don't think. But he is still doing his best to close in. This is going to be a fight that will take us to the end of this race, I'm sure. Because that Revolution car that we're currently riding on board with, giving us a lot of action. And out of the race has gone Prix! Oh my goodness! Carson Thornburg, the championship leader, is also out! That's Niven Colby facing the wrong direction! Full course yellow! Puff's gonna love the news of that, and Sebastian Messian's been given a time penalty. Is Colby out of this race? He is! Niven Colby out in Mid-Ohio! And Prix went flying down there. I have no clue how that incident was caused, but now we're under full course cautions. We're gonna get a 1-lap sprint. Tommy, well, this was going to be a brilliant opportunity as we get back racing on the final lap here in Mid-Ohio. The Hong Kong driver, the most successful ERL driver from Hong Kong, he's currently looking for a way to get past Puff. The first chicane, he was too far back, through 3 and into turn 4. He's still not close enough. Here we come through 5, and he's doing his best to close in. He's 0.5 of a second back. 6 and 7's up next, and he's close to the wall and just doesn't hit it, thankfully. Hexelmark spins! A spin for Hexelmark! Yellow's in the second sector, and he's dropped down to 6th. Linus Eriksson comes through and hits him, and also into the wall, Davide Carrera. Yellow's in the second sector. Puff, however, gains a lot of time on Tommy. He's over a second ahead. Gurovich into the back of Elliot Deli. And on this final few laps, look at that from David Camino! He's into the points! What a move from the 88! And what a race for the number 9, who after trials and tribulations finally is able to say he is an ERL race winner. Puff takes Mid-Ohio. Kwon Todoroki will be able to come across the line in 3rd behind Tommy. Lewis Olsen's been gifted 4th on a silver platter in front of Lil Buns. Hexelmark, front wing missing, 5-second time penalty. David Camino, that move he did earlier on, absolutely astonishing. And Salos Kynes is off. He wall-rided there. He's got front wing damage too. What a final lap we've had. What a final lap in Mid-Ohio. Francis Austin taking the fastest lap at the back of the pack. But hey, this is the podium. Team Penske getting their race win. And this time with the Scotsman, Puff, takes victory from Tommy and Kwon Todoroki. Then it's Lewis Olsen, Lil Buns, Milsos Micah, and David Camino. Then Hexelmark, Safsan, and teammate Davide Carrera. The point scorers, your non-scorers were Elliot Deli, Enoch Yu, Ghosted, Linus Eriksson, Salos Kynes, Mick Yon, Gurovich, Sebastian Messian, and Francis Austin. The non-finishers were Prix, Niven Colby, Carson Thornburg, and Max Bortka. So in the driver's standings, the gap between 1st and 2nd is 2 points between America's Carson Thornburg and Japan's Kwon Todoroki. Then it's Mickey on Gurovich, Elliot Deli, Lil Buns, and Niven Colby. Puff moves up to 7th position in front of Davide Carrera and Linus Eriksson. Then it's Milsos Micah, Francis Austin, Lewis Olsen, Salos Kynes, Tommy Prix, Safsan, Ghosted, Max Bortka, David Camino. After that amazing last lap pass, he moves up to 9th in the standings, 19th in the standings rather. Then Enoch Yu, Hexelmark, and Sebastian Messian. In the Constructors standings heading into the 10th round of the ERL INDYCAR Series, Chip Ganassi leads from Dragon Penske and Newman Haas. Then it's Sims Motorsport, Andretti Green Racing, McLaren in 6th from Hyperdrive and Apex Pinnacle. Then it's Revolution Racing, Power Motorsport, and Prema Power Team. And after that amazing race, the championship is a lot closer heading into the final 4 rounds of the ERL INDYCAR Series. We will see you guys next time then when the ERL returns for the Formula E Series.